platform called Integra. Jeff, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and get started. So, Jeff, it's not letting me change slides. There we go. So first, if you're not familiar with SAF Tehnika, definitely would like to just give you a brief introduction. We are a full cycle licensed point-to-point radio manufacturer. We focus on primarily all outdoor technology. So there's really two types of designs in the licensed microwave world. One is where you run a coax cable up the tower, and then you have an IDU or an indoor unit mounted in a rack inside of an enclosure. But the technology that most of you are going to be familiar with deploying equivalent, say, like Ubiquiti, is where everything's up on the tower except for your PoE injector. And that's really what SAF Tehnika focuses on, is those type of designs where the radio is up on the tower. So we were founded in 1999. We actually started building radios in 1995, but we became a corporation or a joint stock company in 1999. We do build everything from the ground up in our own factory in Riga, Latvia. So if you're a Microtik user, we come from the same place. We are publicly traded and profitable, so you can check our stock ticker on our website and see definitely we're a very healthy company. We've been in it for the long term, and really Integra really shows us our next step. Now in the United States, we do have our sales headquarters in Denver, Colorado. We're actually moving into a new space next month with about 3,500 square feet, so we're very excited about that. We also have about 185 employees worldwide. That's growing, it seems like, every month. And really one of the things we focus on, to sum up this slide, our CFIP Lumina radio is our all-outdoor radio that we primarily sell today. And that comes with a 5-year standard warranty. Now, we are also expanding that warranty onto our new Integra line, but this really makes us a unique manufacturer in the industry that not only do we just say we build quality radios, carrier class radios, which we certainly do, but we back it up with a very exclusive 5-year standard warranty on this platform. And I think you'll be hard-pressed to find that anywhere else in the industry. So moving on to kind of the next slide here is we'll get to the meat and potatoes of this, which is Integra. We do have multiple other product lines to talk about, and if you have questions, any of your Microcom reps can certainly answer them. We do have our Lumina product line, which we continue to sell and is in all the licensed microwave bands. We also have our FreeMile 24 gigahertz radio, which is a very popular radio for us, which is a 100 megabit full duplex radio in the 24 gig unlicensed band. Integra, though, is our next step. So go ahead and, all right, so give you a good overview of Integra. So you can see kind of the, I went ahead one too many slides there. So Integra's antenna are all one piece. Try this again. So you can kind of see the conceptual diagram there, that picture is the radio is integrated with the antenna, which is very unique in the licensed microwave space. Really the first vendor to do this in the 18 gig and 23 gigahertz license bands. Now, some of you might be thinking about Ubiquiti's air fiber radio and how that's one solid piece design. The nice thing about this design, though, is that the antenna and radio can be physically removed from one another. If you were to take this apart, take the radome off the antenna, there's 8 screws that hold it together. So while this isn't something that you'll remove on a tower, it is field replaceable. So if you do have a bad radio, you can replace just the radio. Now we're going to ship this in 3 different antenna versions initially. An 8-inch antenna for the 23 gigahertz and 24 gigahertz unlicensed bands, and then 1-foot and 2-foot antennas for 18 gigahertz, 23 gigahertz, and then the 24 gigahertz unlicensed band. The concept behind this enclosure was definitely to make it compact, lightweight, and also very easy to design, which you'll see in the bracket design. Most parabolic antennas have an offset design. They take up a lot more space on the tower. and they make it a little bit more difficult to align. This one, comparatively, is definitely much easier to align and install, and really that was the focus behind this platform, with small cell backhaul, LTE backhaul, but really just gives you a low-cost, high-quality, easy-to-install backhaul that you're not going to necessarily find anywhere else, at least not in this design. So there's really 4 ports on the bottom of the radio. The first, you're going to have a Gig-E dedicated PoE interface. That PoE interface, of course, can also pass Ethernet traffic. The radio consumes about 20 to 25 watts of power, depending on the frequency model, and so it's easily powered by 8023 AT injectors. We will have a certified list here soon, but we also will make our own injector to go with this radio. Now, besides that PoE port, we also include 2 SFP module ports. So you can put either a Cat5 interface there, you can put a fiber interface there. It's field replaceable. Every model comes with it, so it's very easy to install and really customize this radio to whatever your installation is going to be. Beyond that, we have this kind of 4th interface. Now, it's a transparent plastic that covers the port. It's very easily unscrewed. And inside of that port, you're going to have a power LED. Now, this LED can also be used for alignment. It does blink faster as the RSSI increases. You also have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So it can be used, one, for audio alignment. I believe this makes this the only licensed backhaul radio on the market that has audio alignment available. But it also can be used to connect a voltmeter. So a very standard configuration or tool to align licensed radios with a voltmeter. And it gives you both options. Now, we also have a USB port on the radio. That's for serial access, but also it gives you the capability to configure the radios with our new Spectrum Compact Spectrum Analyzer for the licensed frequency bands. If you haven't received any information about that product or joined us for the last webinar, definitely please make sure to ask your Microcom rep for more information on it. Now, as you kind of move to the next slide here, you can see another kind of diagram of what the radio looks like. Kind of see those ports up close. But here's some of the meat and potatoes for you. So this is a full duplex radio, as all licensed radios are. And at 1024 QAM modulation in a 60 megahertz wide channel, will deliver 450 megabit of true capacity. This isn't a, under specific circumstances or packet sizes or anything. With jumbo packets, all the way from 64 bytes all the way up to 9,800 byte packets, will deliver a full 450 meg, just like a piece of fiber. And if you decide to put 2 of these radios on the same tower, maybe going to the same location, you can bond the radios together to get 900 megabit of full duplex capacity between the 2 locations. Now, on top of that, we also have layer 2, layer 3 header compression, which compresses the header in front of the Ethernet packets. And that, on average, can deliver up to 10% conservatively more capacity over the link, which will give you somewhere between 500 megabit in a 1+0 link and up to a gigabit in a 2+0 configuration. Now, as I did mention, this is available in the 18 gigahertz, 23 gigahertz, and 24 gigahertz unlicensed bands initially in the United States. If you do have a 38 gigahertz deployment, that will be available within a couple months. 18 and 23 gigahertz should be available to ship in very limited quantities in July, and we'll be shipping regular quantities in August. The 24 gigahertz unlicensed platform, we will submit to the FCC in the next couple weeks, and the only thing that will hold us back there is going to be FCC certification, which we expect to take about 60 days. So that should put us somewhere in the end of August for that radio to be available. Now, just like all of our radios, we do support a wide variety of channel sizes. This radio will go all the way down to 5 megahertz and all the way up to 60 megahertz. So you can really select the appropriate channel based on the capacity that you need to deliver. This is SAF's first 1024 QAM modulation radio. It's really kind of bringing us towards the front of the pack in the industry. A lot of licensed manufacturers have the 256 QAM, which is very standard. A couple manufacturers have released 512 QAM, but there's only a select few that have done 1024 QAM. Now, a teaser for those of you that have joined me for my webinar today, I will tell you this hardware is capable of 4096 QAM, but we haven't unlocked it in the hardware just yet. Works great on the bench, but there's kind of a point of diminishing returns in the field. So stay tuned. We might be able to unlock that in software, but this is definitely going to be a very high QAM modulation radio to deliver ultimate capacity in these frequency bands. And just like, of course, every radio that SAF makes, it does have hitless adaptive modulation. Now, from transmit output power, this is going to actually be a big step up from our Lumina platform. This radio will deliver up to 20 dBm of transmit output power, but at the 256 QAM point, we're going to deliver up to 4 more dBm than Lumina does. So while we'll be stepping down, going to another modulation of 1024 QAM, we're going to deliver the same transmit output power or a little bit better as our current Lumina platform. So it means you're going to get more capacity at the same distance using a much higher modulation. So this is all great news. It's very well welcomed, and really looking forward to getting this into your hands, especially compared to other licensed manufacturers. This will give us a lot more range. From a power supply standpoint, as I mentioned, this is a PoE radio. Average consumption will be about 25 watts, depending on configuration, as low as 20 watts. The max of 35 watts really does not apply to the United States or the frequencies available in the United States. That applies to our 15 gigahertz version radio that we're shipping for European countries. 15 gigahertz is not available in the United States, so that caveat of max 35 watts is on there, but definitely focus on the 25 watt part. Now, Integra was also designed for small cell backhaul for LTE, so you're going to see features like SYNC-E, MPLS, IEEE 1588, stuff that you're not going to find in the average point-to-point network. The features that I think are very valuable, though, are going to be the layer 2, layer 3 header compression, which was included with the radio. It does have the link bonding, so previous generations of our radios required you to do MAC-to-MAC link bonding for 2+0 aggregation. Link bonding allows us to do router-to-router aggregation, or one MAC address on each side. So that's definitely kind of a nice step for us. But really important to us is this is our first radio that will offer a 256-bit AES encryption. That will be available very shortly after launch, probably in September, and it's a software key. So if you do decide to buy any of these radios initially and need the AES encryption, that will be available as a software key very shortly after launch. Now, what I don't have on this slide is that SAF Tehnika has a mentality that we don't charge for software keys or upgrade keys. So out of the box, compared to other vendors who charge you for every capacity upgrade key to go from 10 meg all the way up to, say, 400 meg, every radio will do the 450 meg out of the box. It will include the header compression and all these other carrier Ethernet functions, except for AES encryption. That will be a slight upcharge, maybe a $200 software key. That price hasn't been set yet, but it will be very minimal. Otherwise, though, for the average service provider, the average enterprise network, this will deliver everything you need right out of the box. It will deliver all these specifications with no upgrade keys. So a little bit more about the platform is, kind of want to give you also a concept of where we're going and where we're at. Get back to the last slide here. So the Integra form factor, as we're presenting it today or announcing today, is an integrated ODU and antenna. Now, for those of you that might have our Lumina radios in your network and want to upgrade to this Integra platform, there will be a slip-fit version available hopefully by the end of the year, so you can replace those Lumina radios and use the same antennas you have in the field today. Also, from a capacity standpoint, if you look at our data sheet, we've announced 420 megabit, where I've also already said 450 megabit. The difference is that the strong FEC profile, modem profile, gives us the 420 meg. The 450 capacity, the weak forward error correction modem profile, is just being finished right now. So it's not on our data sheet, but when the product is available within the next 30 days, it will deliver capacity of about 450 meg. It might be 449 or 448, but definitely 450 meg will effectively be available by the time that you can get your hands on a radio. Frequency bands available at launch in July will be 18 gig and 23 gig. So the license exempt 24 gig will take a little bit longer, and that's just because we have to wait for FCC certification. Modulations, as I mentioned, up to 1024 QAM available today. 4096 is in the works. It's kind of in the wings there. So we hope to release that as a software upgrade within the next 6 months, but we are not committing to that feature. So I want to make that very clear. It's available. We hope to be able to unlock it, but we won't unlock it unless it's a very stable 4096 QAM that can be really used in an enterprise network or carrier network. A lot of people have asked us about 80 meg channels. That will be available in a different version of this radio, hopefully also by the end of the year. For antennas, 8-inch through 2-foot antennas will be available at launch. We are also looking at a 3-foot antenna option that's under a feasibility study, which we hope to release soon. And we also will have an ultra-high performance antenna. So for those of you that are in very congested markets, maybe Chicago or LA, even a high performance antenna is not good enough to get a license anymore. So we will offer an ultra-high performance antenna. The Ethernet specs are on the next page here. This kind of gives you all the the protocols. I'm not going to read off each one of these to you, but this is a full carrier grade compliant switch built into the radio. So it does do, I'm sure, everything that you can think of that you want. The only things that will be missing at launch are going to be AES encryption, the IEEE 1588 support, and MPLS and OAM support. All of that should be everything else will be available at launch. My last slide here just kind of gives you a concept of the antennas and the sizing and the antenna gains that will be available for each antenna. So 18 gig and 23 gig will be the versions available in the United States. And that will definitely, you'll notice, will give you the same antenna gain as a standard antenna that we use for Lumina today. So it's still a very high quality antenna, even though it is integrated into the radio. So with that, Jeff, I think we got about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm open to any questions about Integra or any of our other product lines, Lumina or FreeMile.
Okay, got a couple questions came in just on the Integra line here. Okay. One was on, sure. You had said on the 18 and 23 gig, it's going to be shipping in July. Is that shipping from the U.S. or from Latvia?
That will be shipping from our warehouse in the United States. Now, as I said, it will be available in limited quantities only. So we don't expect that we're going to be able to fulfill many of the, if you place an order today, that you'll necessarily get your link in July. But the first units will go out into the field in July. The first production units will be out in the field in July.
Okay. And then another question came in on the warranty. Mm-hmm. What is the warranty with it?
Oh yeah, it's a 5-year standard warranty on Integra, just like our Lumina platform. So that covers parts and labor. Of course, it does not cover lightning strikes. It does not cover malicious damage or physical damage to the radio, water intrusion, things of that nature that should not happen. That would be indications of malicious damage, let's say. Now, it is a 30-day warranty, to be very cautious with you. So either you need to plan on having spares in your network, just like any good service provider does. You've got spare radios on the shelf, or you might want to look at our next-day replacement warranties as well. Those will be available with this platform. So if you only have one link, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have spares. So for an additional charge, you can get a next-day replacement service from us.
Okay, and then I got another question here. Online, is there going to be an online path loss calculator available for this?
We're actually in the works to develop a kind of a new path calculator, if that will be an online calculator or if it's going to be kind of a next generation platform or calculator, that's to be determined at this point. In the short term, we'll have an Excel calculator for these radios. I hope to be able to give that to you or have it available for download on our website in hopefully the next 2 weeks. The reason that I don't have to give that to you today is that we are finalizing still the transmit output power and receiver sensitivity specs. You know, a lot of manufacturers will give you those specifications when they announce a radio a year before they ship it. SAF, we kind of work a little different in that we don't announce radio specs until we are certain to the dB of what the specifications will be. So we have a lot of those specifications are plus or minus 1 dB right now. In the next week or two, as we start pulling the production units off the manufacturing line and packaging them up, we'll be able to have the final versions, and then we'll release those both on the data sheet, and then we'll release our calculator as well. So in the meantime, if you do need to do any calculations, please ask your Microcom rep, and we can get a calculation to you as a budgetary calculation.
What's your turnaround time on those, Daniel? 24, 40 hours?
Typically 24 hours. You know, there's of course always a chance there could be extenuating circumstances, but never in.
Okay. Another one was you said you addressed the 16 and 23 when those are going to be shipping. What about for the 24 gig? Is that another 60 days like the for the FCC?
Yeah, 24 gigahertz is going to be up to the FCC effectively to determine. We'll submit the radio first week of July, hopefully, to the FCC. Their typical turnaround on 24 gig unlicensed radios is about 60 days. But really that part's going to be out of our hands. So we'll be able to take pre-orders. If you're in Canada or say Great Britain or something, it will be available at launch. But in the FCC markets, it's hopefully only going to be 60 days. But you know, we'll let you know as we find out more from the FCC about their backlog.
Okay, and I got a question here about getting a copy of the slides. Yes, you can go ahead and contact your Microcom rep for that, and they will have the slides available for you.
And the other thing I'd encourage you to do is also go on YouTube. We do have a video on Integra available on our YouTube channel. You can also contact your Microcom rep for a link to that video. And then also make sure to check out saftechnica.com for the brochure, and a link to the video is also there.
Okay, speaking of YouTube, this presentation is actually going to will be uploaded on Microcom's YouTube webpage as well, so you can revisit this if you want to access that. Another question, just actually a couple more questions came in. Will the FreeMile and Lumina 24 gig still be available once Integra starts shipping?
Absolutely. Well, we haven't released the pricing to Microcom or any of our Integra is going to cost more than our FreeMile product line. So we continue to see FreeMile as being a very viable product in the market when you only need 100 mega capacity. And then Integra is going to kind of be the Cadillac, where maybe FreeMile is the Camry or something. Lumina will continue to be available in all frequency bands. We are not end-of-lifing that radio. And while we do have a lot more versions of Integra, let's say, planned for release throughout the next fiscal year, which for us starts July 1st, we will continue to manufacture Lumina, repair Lumina, for as long as we can get components. One of the unique things about SAF is that we have officially never end-of-lifed a radio platform. Our CFL product and CFM product that we initially started shipping in 1999, we still manufacture and we still ship today. So if you're worried about repairs or you've already got a Lumina network and you want to buy another one, it'll still readily be available. Just ask your Microcom rep.
Okay, anyone else have any other questions? Okay, it looks like that is it on questions. So Daniel, thank you very much. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Like I said, this webinar will be available on our YouTube page, so you can reference that again, as well as if you have any questions or you want to get a copy of the slides, you can contact your Microcom sales rep, or you can contact sales@microcomtech.com, and we can get hold of you that way. So Daniel, thank you very much for your time. Thank everyone for joining us.
All right, have a great day.
Okay.